And we are back here with another video today. Today we are looking at the UCLA Bruins and looking at what it has in store for Bob Chesney's first year at UCLA, to see what Nico Iamaleava has at the quarterback position and to see if they can improve off of the 3-9 record from last year. My name is Reichley Ruby, and welcome to the Football Expert. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button down below. We're trying to reach 6,600 subscribers by the end of July. We're almost to 6,500. So help me by hitting that goal and hitting that subscribe button down below, hitting the notification bell as well, so that way you never miss another video. Like the video if you enjoy it, and most importantly, comment your thoughts and opinions down below. Let me know what your opinion is of UCLA. This is my favorite part of the YouTube channel, is hearing what your guys' thoughts and opinions are, building that college football community as we're doing here of college football fans from all across the nation. It is so fun to see. So let's get straight into today's video. So first game of the year for UCLA is a road game against Cal. A very interesting matchup, I would say. A matchup in which I do think UCLA has better talent than Cal at the moment. Ron Rivera, the new, I think it's head football operations is his technical title at Cal. And then for the head coach, you have the new head coach as well at Cal. So I think that UCLA is the better team talent-wise, slightly. And then I think Cal has home field advantage. So it is going to be a tough game. I'm going to give the win to Cal because of the home field advantage. And I just don't know what it looks like, because both quarterback situations are actually underratedly good. Nico is not a bad quarterback by any means. He's just not. How he handled himself in getting to UCLA was pretty poor, 100%. I think even UCLA fans, I think you guys would even agree with me. But I think he handled himself poorly. But also at Cal, you have a great quarterback situation as well there. So I don't think you can overlook this game. And honestly, I think it's one of the more fun, underrated matchups going into this year. I think that it will have a lot more to it than people are expecting going into a game like this. So I have that as a loss for the Bruins. But looking at that next game, San Diego State, one of the newest members of the Pac-12 conference, along with, well, a whole bunch of other teams. I think that looking at a conference like this, I see, how do I put this? I see San Diego State's years prior to being in the Pac-12 as way better than this year, to be frankly honest. I think that there are just better teams in the Pac-12. Looking at San Diego State, I do think that like teams like Boise State or Fresno State or Texas State are just in a better spot. Actually, I just realized that every team in the Pac-12 has state in their name, their state universities. So that's interesting. Either way, I have that as a win. Sorry, that's a ramble. Next game on the schedule is a home game against Purdue. I have this as a win as well. I think Purdue is the worst team in the Big Ten, no doubt about it. I think that they're in a bad spot. I think Barry Odom has even underperformed the low expectations coming in and could be let go at the end of this season. Heading on to the next game is a road game against Maryland, and this is where it's tough. Maryland at the end of the season against Locksley, Mike Loxley, the coach there at Maryland, probably a win. But at the beginning of the season, Loxley is good. I don't know what it is, but Maryland is consistently good at the beginning of the season, well against almost anybody, and then will slowly just peter off into the forgotten wilderness of 7-5, 6-6, 5-7 football. So I have this as a loss. I could see it as a win, but going cross country, those games are always difficult. So I think this is a loss. Bye week, and then you play Oregon on the road. This is a loss. Oregon is just dramatically a better team. There's zero doubt in my mind. Oregon's the better team with the better quarterback. Easy loss there. Then next game, and this brings up an interesting 3-game stretch here for the Bruins. Because let's say you beat Cal in that game and you beat Maryland and you're 4-0, you got smacked around by Oregon. But then you have a 3-game stretch against Wisconsin, Michigan State, and Nevada. Wisconsin, I do think that this is a win. If it would be a little more hesitant, but with it being in the Rose Bowl, being in Pasadena, I have it as a win. I think that the UCLA defense will have some improvements this season. Obviously, last season it was very bad. Let's just put it that way. It was not good. They gave up 5.2 yards a carry. You're talking about over 3,000 passing yards given up, and only 10 sacks by the defense. It was just not a good time overall at all in any way, shape, or form. And when you're just looking at stuff like that, you just get disappointed by stats like that. Then going into the next game, a home game against Michigan State. I have this also as a win. I think that Michigan State coming to Pasadena once again, those cross-country road trips, they are really tough on teams, and I think people underrate them. And it will be a disadvantage and an advantage for UCLA, being that cross-country road trip and then going on those cross-country road trips for everybody. But I have this as a win. I think that Michigan State, with Pat Fitzgerald in his first, is going to be really close to 500, maybe one game above or one game below. And I see UCLA in a pretty similar spot as a 500 team. And I know that that's a pretty big improvement from beating Penn State, Michigan State, and Maryland last year, and that was it. But I think that this is a UCLA team that can build upon parts that just weren't clicking last year, to be frankly honest, because last year the non-conference schedule was brutal. Utah, UNLV, New Mexico. That's a brutal non-conference schedule. It just is. There's no doubt about it. This year, I think that you go 2-1 with that next game against Nevada. I think that you get a win. I think Nevada is one of the weaker teams in the Mountain West. Some people, I had a Nevada fan I was chatting with on my North Dakota State preview and prediction, and very high on Nevada. Obviously, he's a fan of Nevada, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm missing something with Nevada, and it's a much closer game. But I have this as a win. I don't think they should be issues, but we'll see. Nevada's way worse than like a New Mexico from last year. Next game is a road game against Minnesota. This is where I think the winning comes to a halt. I think that it is a road game against a physically tough team in Minnesota that also has a good offense, or at least good pieces on the offense. But I know I'm going to almost contradict myself in the next game when I say that UCLA is going to beat Illinois. And here's the reason why. One of the reasons is Illinois is a home game, Minnesota is a road game. Reason number two, I think Illinois' offense will be worse than Minnesota's this year. I think Illinois will take a step back this year. Offensively, they also do lose some defensive pieces that are pretty key. So I think those will be replaced a lot easier, but they could also possibly not be replaced well. So I have that as a win against Illinois, a loss against Minnesota. But the third and the final reason why I think they beat Illinois but lose to Minnesota is, personally, I like PJ Fleck as a coach a little bit better than Brett Bielema, who has been good. There's no doubt about it. But just with how he was the coach at Arkansas and he hasn't been able to reach the ranks that he did at Wisconsin, I'm just always slightly concerned that there's going to be a down year for Illinois, that he'll be able to keep up with that consistency. So I have it as a loss. I don't think that Illinois is a bad team this year, but I think Nico is able to get a win there and really build upon the momentum in that scenario. Road game against Michigan is next up. I have this as a loss. I think that this is no doubt a loss in my mind. Michigan is dramatically more superior defensively, offensively, physicality in the trenches, in the coaching staff. Even though I think Bob Chesney was a decent hire, getting him from James Madison. And to be frankly honest, I'm not even that disappointed that Alonzo Barrett III didn't come with Chesney, because I do think Nico is an underrated quarterback. especially in the Big Ten. I'd say he's a top 10 Big Ten quarterback. I don't think he's top 5, but I think that he's in the conversation, that he's in the better half of the conference. He's borderline. And Barrett would just be too much of a question mark in a system that I just don't know how much he would fit. He may fit, and I may be wrong, but I think Nico also gives the dual threat ability. Fortunately and unfortunately, he was the leading rusher last year, 505 yards. But you also have to adjust sacks in that because he did get sacked quite a few times, a total of 27 sacks against him. So, but it's also something that I think in a game like that, Michigan is just going to be able to have the ability to just lean defensively and lean run game wise on a UCLA team. Next game and final game of the year is their rival in USC, the losers of USC. Yeah, I'm a Notre Dame fan, so UCLA fans, we can unite in our hate for USC and the fact that they were cowards and left the rivalry game. And there's no USC fan that's going to convince me otherwise because any objective person looks at that and Notre Dame won't play them anywhere, anytime. Yeah, okay. And like, you mean Notre Dame won't travel down to Argentina to play a game in the South Pole at midnight? Like, seriously? Like, they were trying to get waivers and outside games, and it was a whole mess. Either way, I hope UCLA wins this game, but I don't think they do. I actually think USC is a good team this year. Jada Mayava, I think, is a dark horse for the Heisman, and I think that they beat UCLA here. But I do think UCLA finishes out 6-6, makes a bowl game, 4-5 record in conference. I think that's a pretty good year for Bob Chesney in year one. Better year than Deshaun Foster had in either of his years, and it gets him into a place that, okay, bump it up 2 more wins and then bump it up in 2 more wins in his third year. I think that's a good place to be for UCLA, is starting out with that 6 wins in a first year for a coach, bumping it up to 8, bumping it up to 9, 10 in the third year. So that's going to wrap up today's video. Hit one of the 2 videos down below. It will be a podcast of all my college football predictions. Hit that so that way you don't miss a single one of them. And hit the subscribe button up here. Help me reach my goal of 6,600 subscribers by the end of July. As always, have a great rest of your day.